Hi, I'm Eric Siegel with ericstrains.com. Welcome to episode 18 of my video train blog series. Okay, so it's late February 2012. It's been a few weeks since my last blog video. The reason why it's been a few weeks is quite simple. I just haven't had a lot to talk about. Now, I have been busy doing a few things. One of those things is product review videos, and the other thing is that I've been working on a really big tutorial video that should be out sometime in March, I'm hoping. And that tutorial video covers how to use Atlas switches, tracks, and track signals. So that should be a lot of fun once it's out. It should be pretty long, probably around 45 minutes. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully it will be out towards the end of March. Now, as far as the layout goes, I haven't done any major work on the layout in the last few weeks, mainly because I've been so busy doing the product review videos and that big tutorial video that's coming up. But I have done a little work here and there. Most of the work has centered around structures. I'm just at the point where I'm starting to want to add structures to the layout, and so I've been dabbling a bit in that. Behind me, you can see there's a flat back there that I ordered from OGR Magazine. I'm sort of experimenting with some flats back there against the wall. I've been talking to a custom model builder about building a nice diesel facility down in the yard area, and I'm also looking at some kits. I've bought a couple kits that I'm working on putting together. Probably going to kit bash some buildings for some industrial areas on the layout. But other than that, not a whole lot of work on the layout. So for the rest of the video, I'm just going to answer a few of the top questions that I've gotten from you guys, the viewers. I get a lot of emails from you guys on a daily basis, and by far the most common question that I'm asked is, Eric, when is the next video coming out? When is the next product review video coming out? When's the next layout update video coming out? When is the next blog video coming out? Well, if you're one of these people that likes to follow my videos very closely and you want to stay in the loop on what videos are coming down the pipe, there's a very easy way to do this without having to email me and then wait for me to respond. And that is to follow me on Facebook and to follow me on Twitter. I make several posts every week to Facebook and Twitter, and if you follow me on Facebook and Twitter, that will allow you to know what videos I'm working on, when I expect those videos to be up on YouTube, and you'll also get little updates on the layout, stuff I buy, stuff I'm having problems with, all sorts of little tidbits and updates that I do on a daily basis. So again, if you're one of these people that likes to follow me closely, this is a great way to do it and stay in touch and stay in the loop on a daily basis. You can find me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/EricsOGaugeTrains, and you can follow me on Twitter at EricsTrains. Another question that I get all the time involves the power supply for my layout. But to better illustrate the question and the answer, let's go ahead and crawl under the layout and take a look at the power supply. Okay, here we are under the layout, and this is the control panel for my layout. For those of you who haven't seen this before, let me give you a quick tour. These are the power supplies over here. These feed into the input side of the MTH-TIU, where the DCS signal was picked up. On the output side, it goes out to the track. Down here, I've got some auxiliary transformers for switches and accessories and so forth. And then down here, I've got the MTH-AIU that I use to control my switches and accessories on the layout. Now, as far as power for the track goes, I've currently got the layout divided up into 4 power districts. 3 of the 4 power districts use these Lionel Powerhouse 180 power supplies. The 4th power district uses one of these MTH Z1000 power supplies. Each of these supply a fixed voltage of 18 volts. These 3 are 180 watts. The MTH Z1000 is 100 watts. Now, the reason I use these bricks to power my layout and not a classic transformer with the knobs and everything is because it's not needed. That's because I'm running a 100% command-controlled layout with MTH's DCS and Lionel's legacy system. And when you're running in command control only, you don't need to vary the voltage. You just need raw power, and that's what these bricks do. Now, when you first buy one of these Lionel Powerhouse 180s, on the output side of the power supply, that is the side that goes to the track, or in my case, goes into the TIU, on the end of the cable, you'll have a plug that looks like this. But the problem is that if you look at the TIU on the input side, there is no place where you could put in a plug that looks like that. You can either wrap a wire around these binding posts, or you can use a banana plug, which is what I do. So the question that I get all the time from you guys is, how do you get a plug like this coming from the Powerhouse 180 to go into the TIU? Well, the solution is incredibly simple. So simple, in fact, that you're probably going to kick yourself when you see what I do. But rather than just answer the question, I'm actually going to show you what I do, because for a while now, I've been wanting to replace this MTH Z1000 with a fourth Lionel Powerhouse 180. Well, I have a new Powerhouse 180 right here. So what I'm going to do is hook it up to this control panel, and I will show you how I get this plug to go into the TIU. Okay, as you can see, I've got the new Powerhouse 180 mounted up right here. The old Z1000 is gone. I've removed it from this channel on the TIU, so this is where the new Powerhouse is going to plug into. On the Powerhouse, there are two cables coming out the bottom. This one goes to the power outlet to give it some juice, and this one is going to go into the TIU right here. But again, here's the end of that cable, and it's got that Lionel plug on it. And it won't fit into this input on the TIU. You either have to have two bare wires to wrap around the posts or banana plugs. So how am I going to get this to fit into here? Let me show you right now. Okay, this is a real complex procedure. What you do is you come up about maybe 4 or 5 inches off the cord, take this fancy thing called a pair of scissors, and snip the cord like this. Voila. Okay, so the next thing I do is split the wire like that, so I get 2 single wires. Then I'll take my handy wire stripper and strip off some of the sheathing. And there we go. I've got 2 bare wires, and these can now go into the TIU. Okay, here at the TIU, that new cable from that Powerhouse 180 is going to go into this input channel. Now, if I wanted to, I could just strip these wires back a little further and wrap them around these binding posts and then screw them tight and be done with it. But what I'm going to do is attach banana jacks to these wires. These are banana jacks right here, and they allow you to easily disconnect and reconnect the wires as needed. The banana jacks come in packages of 2 like this. You get a red one and a black one, and you can buy these at Radio Shack for $3 or $4 a pair. And I'm going to solder these wires from the cable onto these banana jacks, and then I'll be able to easily connect and disconnect this cable from the TIU. Now, as you can see, the red and black banana jacks correspond to the red and black terminals on the TIU. But wait a minute, how do you know which wire on this new cable goes to the black and which one goes to the red? It's very important to find this out, because if you get it wrong, if you wire this backwards and have it opposite from these other channels, what'll happen is you'll get problems when you run the trains, because remember, each of these channels is a power district on the layout, and the trains run between all 4 power districts. If this one is wired opposite of these, what'll happen is when the train goes from this power district to this power district, you'll get a spark and a short circuit. So it's important that you have it wired correctly. Fortunately, there's an easy way to figure it out. Let me show you how it's done. To figure out which wire is the black and which one's the red, we're going to do a test that involves using one of the other channels that I already have set up. So let's pull this out and take it down to the table and take a look at it. Okay, here on the workbench, I've got the power cable coming from a power supply that I already had hooked up to the TIU. So I already know that this is the hot and this is the common. Here's the cable I want to test. I want to find out which wire is the hot and which one is the common. So to do this test, what I'll do is I'll take this green clip, and this is just a test clip wire, and I'll clip it to this wire, and then I'll clip the other end to the black jack, or the common jack. And then I'm going to take this white wire and connect it here, and then I'll connect the other end to this red jack. Now, why am I doing this? Well, if I've got it correct, if this is common and this is hot, if I connect these up, I'll just be connecting common to common and hot to hot. Nothing will happen. There'll be no spark. There'll be no short circuit. If I've got it backwards, when I touch this, there'll be a spark and the circuit breaker on the power supply will trip. And that will indicate to me that I've got it backwards and that I need to switch these wires. So it's a good way to test it. It won't do any permanent damage to the power supply. It'll just trip the circuit breaker. So let's go ahead and see what happens. I'm going to touch it really quickly just to be careful. And again, if it's right, there will be little or no spark. If it's wrong, there'll be a spark and it will trip the circuit breaker on the power supply. So let's see what happens. Oh, see that spark? That means I had it backwards. So what I'm going to do is switch these wires. Now I'm going to say this is common and this one is hot. Now let's see what happens. I'm going to reset the breakers on those power supplies. And let's go ahead and touch it. Ah, no spark, no short circuit. That is the correct way to do it. So now I know that this wire is common or black. This one is hot or red. So now what I'm going to do is go solder those banana jacks onto these wires. I'll be right back. Okay, I've soldered those banana jacks onto our new cable. So let's go ahead and plug it into the TIU. And that's all there is to it. We're all done. So now you know how I connect my Lionel Powerhouse 180s into my MTH TIU. There's really nothing to it. And by the way, remember that plug that we cut off earlier? Save this. Don't throw it away because you never know if you'll need it again. Okay, while we're under the layout, I want to answer one more question that I get from you guys quite a bit, and that involves Lionel's legacy command system. As you can see, I run everything through this TIU, so a lot of you guys have asked me, where do I tie in the signal from the legacy system? Well, as you know, there's a single wire that comes from the legacy system, and that wire is supposed to go to the outer rail of your track. Well, I've got 4 power districts on my layout, so I've essentially got 4 sections of track. So I need to connect the legacy wire to each of those 4 sections of track. So to do that, all I did was I ran the wire from the legacy controller over here, and I split it up into 4 wires, and I put these banana jacks on those wires, and I just piggyback that legacy signal right here on the black terminal on the output side of the TIU, because this is essentially the track. This is the output to the track. So by piggybacking the legacy right here on the black terminal, I'm adding the legacy signal to each of these power districts. And that's all there is to it. Okay, that about wraps it up for this blog episode. I'm Eric Siegel, and I'll see you next time.